Alright, we are doing an eclipse video. We're going to do it with alchemical astrology. And I have decided to do it from Carbondale, which will be our X marks the spot. And I've got the time set. It's going to be right before 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we're going to watch it as it eclipses. Whoops. I needed minutes, not hours. There we go. So at 2 o'clock on the button, the sun is going to eclipse in Carbondale. And Mercury is going to be in the vicinity. Now Mercury is debilitated in Pisces. And it's also retrograde. This is very significant because we've been basically living in a Mercurian, Gemini, upside down world for quite a while now. And so I find this very interesting of what's going on with Mercury here. Let me back this out. And sit us upright. There we go. We also have this Uranus-Jupiter conjunction going on. And they've got Jupiter in Aries as well. Now, we've talked about Uranus moving into Taurus and what that means. And that's coming. And Jupiter is out of retrograde. Jupiter is the empire, expansion. It's your desires. It's your navel chakra. It's the foundation pillar for both pillars in Freemasonry. The solar and the lunar pillar. It's both the foundation stone. And Uranus is the subconscious mind. We've talked about both of these being in Aries, which is cardinal fire. It's that fire either purifies you or it burns you to the ground. And it's a great time to clean up your conscious mind. And I've talked about this for a long time because Uranus has been here for a while. And this is really, they're both getting ready to leave in May. And go into Taurus. So it's real important that this is your really last chance. And I've told you how to do that too, how to clean up your mind. And that's stop putting trash in it. You know, a lot of people harp on their bodies, about what you put in your body. But it's far more important what you put in your mind. Because what comes out your mouth is what's in your mind and in your heart. And the proper teaching is it's not what goes into a man's mouth that defiles him, but what comes out. And what comes out of your mind and your heart, your Venus and your Mercury, which Uranus is the conscious mind, but our Mercury rules the mind. In this age especially. But right now he's debilitated and he's retrograde. And he's in a feminine sign, which don't really mean a lot because normally when a planet is in a masculine sign, it's showing you their masculine attributes. Like Jupiter is in Aries, a masculine sign, so it's going to express its Sagittarius nature of ideology and philosophy and all of that, to whereas Jupiter in Pisces is feminine and religion. It's very feminine. So it's a good time or the last chance really, to clean up that mind, your conscious mind, what you choose to put into it. Your mind is no different than a computer or a pet. You can only get out what you put in. If all you put in is filth and entertainment, well, that's all you're going to get out. Now, Venus the saving grace of all of this, Venus, not retrograde, is exalted in Pisces. Now, all of this energy that we're talking about has to do with the eclipse, because it's like an imprint. As Matt would say, the concrete has dried. It's set in stone. The sun being eclipsed in Pisces, normally the sun would overthrow governments. You generally change governments when there's an eclipse. The political atmosphere changes. But this is happening in the house of the church, in the house of religion. So I and ironically enough, I've always looked at Pisces as the Old Testament fish on the left. Let me move this out of the way. The Old Testament fish over here of the God of the law, fire and brimstone, and then the New Testament fish over here. That is, this one would be Mars. They're still worshiping Mars, the god of fire, and this one's worshiping Jupiter, but trying to get over here to Aquarius. Old Testament church, New Testament church. And if I had to say, the big thing about this eclipse is we're going to see a changing of the guard, of the rank and file of the Protestant church, of the New Testament church. Now, I've always looked at this little star right here is called the knot, Al-Reshka, and it means the tie that binds. It's it's the Vatican to me. This is the Vatican. And it's the one with the leash on Cetus, or Leviathan. We've also got Venus in the tail of Leviathan. Now, there's a lot been going on about Jonah and how an eclipse happened then. In the Bible, there's so much on eclipses. Every big event. It's literally, the sun and the moon were made for signs, and the biggest one being an eclipse on the 4th day. And that was 2 days before man was even created. So, I can understand why the symbolism of almost all religions, especially in this age, relate back to, in one way or another, fire or water, and them coming together, or an eclipse. It's the battle of fire and ice. It's the Game of Thrones. It's the rising and falling of civilizations. We have Saturn with Mars in Aquarius. Mars does well when under the authority of the crown. And he's not only under the authority of the crown in Aquarius, but the ruler of Aquarius is in the house. Mars is exalted in Capricorn. And it's funny. Here's Fomalhaut rising as the eclipse is happening. I'm going to change this and find out where it's rising. I'm going to do Atoka next. I might jump into it right at the end of this video. Or at least Talahina, where we're going to watch it. Because Fomalhaut on the horizon is very prominent in my chart. So I can see me doing this. I can see my whole life leading me to this. So in the horizon, we're going to go from Cancer to Fomalhaut to Aquarius. Is this Capricorn? We going to get Capricorn in there? Yes, we're going to have the tail of Capricorn in there. So from Cancer to Capricorn. That's very interesting. From this on either end, it's marking the feminine aspect of the cardinal cross, with its center being here, Pisces. now. Venus is what you would call in the belly of the whale. This is the whale, not Leviathan. That's a different story. In the Arabic or Aramaic zodiac, the whale is literally the other fish. It's the other fish. The New Testament fish are both fishes. They're the whales. And you spend 3 days and 3 nights there. You spend 3 decans in Pisces. And then the whale spits you out at Nineveh. The whale spits you out in Aquarius. Is where you get spit out at. Right before Aquarius, you get spit out here. Let's drop the landscape and go see where the rest of our... Oh, I'm going to put that one back and take that one down. Too much information. The last eclipse was in fire of Leo, 2017. I'm talking total solar eclipses. I'm not counting the ring of fire. But it occurred in fire, and this one occurs in water. After 2017, and I was in California, and the eclipse happened in fire, and then fires started breaking out all over California. So over here, with this one happening in water, and that was fixed fire. This is mutable water. Mutable water can be very destructive. It can destroy. Biblically, the waters are people. So instead of floods of water, we can have floods of peoples, which is, ironically enough, the same thing either way. They've been flooding people across borders in Europe and the Western nations for years now. And it's funny also that it seems everybody, you've got Neptune here as well. So in Pisces, we have Mercury retrograde, debilitated. Is he combust? Let me look at this real quick. 1905-48. Yes, he is combust, debilitated, and retrograde. You don't get any more insignificant than that. And actually, believe it or not, it kind of gives me hope. That's about the only hope I see, because Mercury has been such a problem. It really is controlling the whole world. It appears to be, other than eclipses, who the elite actually worship is Mercury. I mean, the Catholic Church worships Mercury in Virgo as it is. And they seem to be flipping to that Mercury and Gemini energy as well. Rome, Remus and Romulus are Castor and Pollux in the Romanian zodiac. So Rome has always venerated Mercury, at least the priesthood and the elite, while the church, Rome the state, let me put it this way, Rome the state has always venerated Jupiter and Mars, which are fire and water. Europe and Asia, yellow and white. So we got Neptune here as well. So we got our imagination, our heart exalted, our minds and our communications debilitated, retrograde, combust, totally insignificant. So really, and that's the way it needs to be, because what we think is really so insignificant to what's going on. It's like all the hype on the internet. There's so much fear about what's going to happen. And there's a lot different traditions around the world, are as varied as the opinions on the internet as to what an eclipse actually means. And in a dualistic way, which is very Mercurian, to have an alchemical wedding, so to speak. What am I not? Okay, I'm going the wrong way. I want to bring back minutes. I keep doing that. Keep trying to move it hours instead of minutes. It's an alchemical wedding in some, which is a birth. A birth. It is the death of the sun. At the same time, it's a new moon, which is a new beginning. It's out with the old, in with the new. It's the changing of the guard. We had a huge change of the guard on the last eclipse. I do believe Trump was born on eclipse. I might be wrong about that, but I don't think that I am. Let's move it back this way and just sit here and watch it. So our imagination here with the heart. Let me pull up Neptune. I ain't gonna get it. This thing. Some of my keys are not working on my keyboard. I gotta hit them really hard. Is he retrograde? That'd be great to know. Where are we at? 5132. No, not retrograde. Doesn't appear anybody is retrograde but Mercury. We'll take a look at Pluto in a minute. So we have our imagination, our heart, and our communications all here in Pisces. That's definitely going to affect them more than the other planets. Because one, it's on the mutable cross, and everybody else seems to be on the fixed cross or the cardinal cross. While Mercury, Venus, and Neptune, the sun and the moon, are all in a sign of transmutation, a sign of change. This is where change happens. And I can see it happening. So, and Neptune, our imagination, is really required for manifestation. It's where all the magic happens, which is not connected to a chakra. It's not connected to the body. Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. Let's pull up Pluto. Subconscious mind, because this plays a lot in this, because Pisces is about group think. And the group think dynamic is going to shift, which again, it would be considered something hopeful. We have Pluto still on that cardinal cross in Capricorn, and let's see if he's retrograde. Is that 54, 37, 54? No, not retrograde. So Mercury is the only one retrograde. Let's check Uranus for a retrograde. Can I grab it? Yay. And we are at 5022. No. So Mercury is the only one that Mercury drew the short straw in all of this. Which is really, to me, the elite. Is this why they were so afraid of losing power? Because of what's going down with Mercury right now. I'm really curious to see how they react in their response. Because they've obviously been planning a lot of crap around these eclipses going back decades. going back a very, very long time. Almost any religion you look at, when you start digging really deep and you get to the top of the pyramid, so to speak, you see they call them sun worshippers, but that's not what they are. They're the black sun worshippers. And that's looking like a black sun to me. That's what that looks like to me. That's a black sun. But they're given to us for signs. It's not something to fear. It's something to understand. The only thing we fear are things we do not understand. And the only way to understand is to stand under and do what we've always been told to do, to look up. Look up and learn. Look up and understand and know. That Star of David, that's an eclipse. Those two pillars that they took down in New York and put one up, that's an eclipse symbol. It's 2 in 1. It's one turned upside down and shoved up on top of the other. It is an eclipse pillar. So, and I do believe that this eclipse is going to be partially visible in New York itself, I do believe. I know New York State gets part of it. But this is dead center of where they crisscrossed in Carbondale. I wonder if let me pause here and see if I can pull up Tallahena. Well, I could not get it to pull up Tallahena without putting in the coordinates, and it kept flipping out on me. So I've just put it on Dallas, because it's going to be visible from there where we're at about the exact same time. And it is a full total eclipse. And Dallas is very significant too. The elite had a lot of rituals there as well. It's always been a hub for them. So, I guess my major prediction about this would be, like I said, you're going to see it's very religious in nature. It's very New Testament in nature. It's in the second deacon, moving into the third deacon of Pisces, or vice versa. I'm looking at it in a mundane astrology, going from the right to the left. And the 3 deacons of Pisces, at least where religion is concerned, is what I call the Old Testament God of Fire, the Catholic Church, and then you had the Islamic Church came into being next, and then the Protestant Church. All 3 Abrahamic faiths, all 3 from the age of Pisces, but heavily rooted in the age of Aries. While the elite, going back as far as symbolism as I can muster, it's all about Gemini. It's all about Mercury. What is the name of that emperor in, is it China, that he was buried with all those terracotta warriors in a pool of mercury? In Gemini, he's red Mercury. In Virgo, he's Quicksilver. But regardless, it's very transmutable. It's Mercury and Jupiter only have power on the mutable cross. The Empire only has power on the mutable cross. But that's where all the change occurs. So big change. Big change in religion. Especially for the hierarchy of religion. I see a lot of heads rolling, changing of the guards. We're going to all be looking at religion in a different way. The Vatican are making big moves this week, which I'm not shocked, because they're the one that's holding these 2 pieces of the puzzle together. They hold the strings on all of it. We do have a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction coming up. But again, like I've said, let me pull this up. This conjunction here, at least from our aspect, on the 10th, real late at night, I'll pull it back 1 hour, about right there, directly over Fomalhaut. Mars does not have the upper hand here. Mars ruling that Aries, where Jupiter and Empire is sitting, expansion. But here he's in the house of contraction. He's not, emotions are not ruled by the body. This is literally the water of life. The water that pours from the water bearer of Aquarius. It's the water of life. And he's sitting there with the crown, which is odd because Mars is ruling the root chakra and Saturn is ruling the crown chakra. And they're together in the crown chakra. Aquarius and Capricorn are, well, especially Aquarius, is the crown chakra. He's the king here. All of these stars, first lucky star of the king. The other ones they're all lucky stars and they all have to do with the king. He is the king, and this is his Star of Bethlehem. Literally, the New Testament is talking about this guy. But we're in an age of mercy and grace, forgiveness, all of that good stuff. Belief, groupthink for manifestation, which is very interesting to me. All in the belly of the whale. Repentance. We're supposed to get ourselves in order by the renewing of our minds. How do you renew your mind? You retrain it. You stop putting mainstream media news into it. You stop listening to the fear porn and the hype. You stop looking at the ugly things in this world and start putting your attention and your focus on the beauty of it, which is really why I wanted to do this in Talahina, because it's extremely beautiful there, especially this time of year. And the name of the mountain is Winding Stair, and that's the ladder going up to the fish over here. It's air going up the stairs to Aquarius in the Freemason temple. Let's do some of that real quick. We'll start here on the tracing. And this is the sun pillar and the lunar pillar. And we have, at the bottom is Pisces, and then Scorpio, and then Cancer. Jupiter being the foundation. And Jupiter is currently in Aries, which is over here at the top of the sun pillar. So we have Jupiter in Aries with Uranus. In Pisces, over here we have the sun, the moon, whoops, I'm terrible at this, the moon, Mercury, retrograde, and Venus, and Neptune. So we have 5 energies going on there. Our imagination, our minds, our hearts, and our power sources. In Aquarius, which is right here, we have Saturn and Mars. And this would be the stairs, or the winding stair, which is DNA, is a winding stair. And then in Capricorn, which is right here, we have Pluto. And that's where everybody's at here. Let's go to the Tree of Life. Now, I need to make my own Tree of Life because there's one above it. They don't show you. They've taken one away here. So at the bottom, when you come in, this is the same as a Freemason tracing board. So you come in at Virgo, and then Taurus, and then Capricorn. And then you have Mercury and Gemini, Aquarius, and then Libra. This would be the Sun pillar, so you would have Jupiter, the Sun, and Mars. And this would be the lunar pillar. You'll have Jupiter, Mars, and the Moon. So, Pisces over here. Let me get my little pen. It's the same as the tracing board. Pisces, you have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury retrograde, Venus, and Neptune. Lot of energy, all of this is going to change. Our hearts are going to change, our minds are going to change, our imaginations are going to change. Okay, let's go to Capricorn here for Pluto. Aquarius here for Saturn, who rules it, and Mars. And then Aries over here. These two are masculine. These are all feminine energy. Off the happening over here. We're going to see that in just a second anyway. So we've got Jupiter and Uranus. And that's what it looks like here. You've got 5 on the feminine, 3 in the middle, and 2 on the left. Oops. Let's exit this and go to Chakra Man. Because this is where it really counts for us. Is when we get here to what I call Chakra Man. Let me pull this up some. I have to pause it to fix it. Alright. At the bottom, Mars, root chakra. On the masculine side, which is his right, Aries. On the left, Scorpio. Jupiter in the masculine is Sagittarius, and the feminine is Pisces. The moon for Cancer, the sun for Leo. The heart chakra, Venus. Libra for the masculine, Taurus for the feminine. Mercury for the throat chakra, the masculine in Gemini, and the feminine in Virgo. And the crown chakra, Saturn, the masculine, and Aquarius, the feminine, in Capricorn. So we have in Aries, which is right here, Jupiter and Uranus. In Pisces, which is right here, the 5s, the sun, the moon, Mercury retrograde, combust, debilitated. He's just a TKO there. Venus and Neptune. So a lot of lower chakra energy. This is all about the body, the world, the flesh. Then we get up here into the crown chakra. And we've got Saturn and Mars. And on this side, we have Pluto. And that's everybody. So you can kind of see what's going on. Even though Venus is debilitated, there's nothing going on here. Venus is the heart's going to be the powerhouse here. The heart's going to be the way out of all of this. This is where you need to stand, is in your heart. And with no fear. With no fear. Jupiter in that fire, in that root chakra. Very emotional. Very warlike. The Empire is very emotional and it's very warlike. And that's also what's on everybody's mind. Uranus, your conscience mind. The subconscious mind's up here in the crown chakra. The imagination is getting caught up in the whirlwind that is the eclipse for transmutation. And right now, the collective imagination, because when we talk about Pisces, it is groupthink. So we're talking about collective, big groups, religious groups. But the imagination is also the creative element. So we're going to see a change in what I call Hollywood and the way things are done there. We've been in a very woke state. I'm curious as to see where they're going to take it from here. Or are they just going to take it down? But to me, as long as the people remain in the heart, are up here in the crown, which is where we really need to be, and no fear, then this really is going to affect the top of the pyramid more than it is us. And I think that's why they do all these rituals. They're the ones that are afraid of it. They're the ones that are afraid of it. For us, it's a time of learning. Now, for everybody, I agree. It's got the Nineveh thing written all over it, and that's the way Masonry set it up. They've known about eclipses and how to calculate them very accurately for a few hundred years now. And with computers, they don't miss a lick. So they've been preparing for this. But for a long time, I've been saying we have a top-heavy pyramid. Now, because this is in Pisces, its opposition is Virgo, and that's mutable earth. So you can expect some earthquakes. Mercury rules that house. So he is debilitated. He is combust. He is retrograde. And that's going to be a major problem for him. And again, it's on the mutable cross. Virgo's like quicksand. And nothing rocks and shakes and earthquakes more than Virgo does. And it's reflecting that. That's its opposition. So keep that in mind, that we'll see an uptick in earthquakes. We're going to see an uptick in floods. Unlike the 2017, where we've seen an uptick in fires. Alright, I think I've about wrapped that up, and I've done it in less than an hour. Now, I'm doing a huge presentation in Tallahena for those of you who want to show up. And it will be very biblically based about eclipses in the Bible. And there's a lot of them. If you understand the terminology that's being used, you understand they're talking about eclipses. Because it's always been the biggest sign in the heavens for any culture and every culture. Alright, people, you know what to do. Commit that random act of kindness. Spread the love. Bank that karma. We all need it. And I'd like to thank those people who donated to keep this channel going. And if you have not already, please consider to do so. Help me keep these videos coming to you. Help me help you.